Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. This is another spicy, good on chisme episode on child free wealth. And I'm excited to have our guest today, Lucia Diaz, who is someone who is super creative. She has an amazing story. And so, Lucia, welcome to the show.
Oh my God, amiga, muchas gracias por permitirme estar aquí en tu podcast. Like, this is such an honor, such a dream. I've been following your journey for, I think, over 2 years now, and you're just killing it. And I just want to say thank you for this invitation to this conversation that I think is super important. So, muchas gracias.
My pleasure. Placer es mío. And off record, I was telling you that I wanted to create more podcasts, but not just another boring podcast on personal finance and how to improve your credit and how to invest. Yes, we love those, but I wanted to bring real conversations to the table. And I noticed there was a conversation that was missing for us Latinas, and that was the optionality of not having to check another box of becoming a mom. And when I reached out to you, I was like, yes, we need to have this conversation. But I want us to start at the beginning because I know that you are a badass, that you are super creative. But for those people that are not familiar with your story, can you share a little bit about your background? Where were you before you became the amazing chingona that you are today? And just walk us through your journey, please.
And from there, all the little chitter chatter of like Ativa, that all kind of like faded away. My mom, Luz Builes, she also was someone who fiercely believed in me and made sure that I had the opportunities to be a creative and to create. And so I think my whole brand, Lucia Diaz, is an homage to all of the female ancestors that I have that did not have the opportunity to chase their dreams, that did not have the opportunity to really fully immerse themselves in what they wanted to do because they were too busy raising us. And so I think for me, especially this conversation is going to be super important because I think being child free has allowed me to pursue my dreams, to become a published illustrator, to create brand activations with some of the biggest fashion brands in the country, including Chanel, DVF, Carolina Herrera, Tiffany and Co. and Dior. I think a lot of these things wouldn't have happened if I only solely focused on having children. So I've seen the big toll that is hit my mom and then also the toll that is having on my brother who currently has twins. So for me it's like I honestly feel fortunate and lucky to I think be the first woman in my lineage to have had the option if I wanted to have children or not. I hope that makes sense.
And I love that. And off record, I was telling you, I have daughters. I love my daughters,
Yeah,
but they're also a lot of work. And and I say this like full
yeah.
transparency, if I didn't have access to the money that I now have access because of the work I put in, because of
Mhm.
the work my husband put in, we wouldn't be able to sustain our lifestyle. But also, like, I have options to be a creative because
Yeah.
of money. And I want us to also normalize that conversation on how money gives you optionality. And for you is you decided, nope, kids are not for me. I'm going to go full force in my business, which I mean, come on, like having brands that are essentially like everyone's dreams to wear or to have different products that they offer. But having a Latina work with them is like dreams come true. And you said something that resonated with me. And I even noticed it made me a little bit emotional. Like I was like, voy a llorar, voy a llorar. You said something about te vas a morir de hambre, right? Because there is a listener out there who wants to be a creative and
Yeah.
los papás or la mamá, they don't support their dreams because of that mindset of being creative, quote unquote, is not good enough. How did you overcome the mindset or the belief that te ibas a morir de hambre como creativa? Because you're not. I mean, I see you.
I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm still alive. I'm here. I am not starving at all. Y pues te quiero decir que a lot of that is just preconceptions of like our like my family immigrated from Colombia to Miami and they wanted to provide me a better opportunity. A lot of us that are listening are daughters of immigrants or sons of immigrants for those dudes that are listening as well. And I think a lot of it comes down to they don't want us to fail economically because they're scared that their sacrifices were in vain. And so they put on so much pressure. And I'm pretty sure you also heard it too from your parents that tienes que ser abogado, tienes que ser, doctora o enfermera, or you have to pick something that's going to produce money. But the thing is, for me, as a creative, I think I was super fortunate that I went to a high school that was an art magnet that kind of showed me that there are different things that you could do as an artist, as an illustrator. And I don't recommend, like, if you're a creative right now listening, I don't recommend like full force quitting your job and start just painting tomorrow. I say create a career as you are building another career. So to me, I didn't get to this spot where I could collaborate with different brands or have my own book, Viva Latina. Like I didn't get to this spot overnight. It took me 14 years to build this. So being able to go to high school, I went to art college. I would highly recommend any creative, instead of going to art college, go and do community college and then also go off to Europe and go to college over there. Like if you want to do creative work and go to college and do all of that, go over there. Like don't saddle yourself with student loans. Be smart about the interest rate that basically get from those student loans because it's crushing. A lot of people come out of school with these degrees expecting a job. What you have to do as a creative, you have to become a brand. You have to become a person that goes out and chases these opportunities. Nobody's going to come to your door knocking saying, "Hey, can I work with you? Hey, can you do these illustrations?" My mom was the first entrepreneur. She used to make arepas. And so,
Oh, hold on. Let me stop you right there. Let me just like talking the moment because I freaking love arepas. There's a Pike's Place market near us,
yes,
and I literally go just to see my friends, and I'm like, "¿Dónde están mis arepas?" And they're like,
yeah,
"Okay, we know what you like." Anyway,
absolutely.
a
No,
close parentheses.
I love it. I love it. And I lived in Seattle for a while, and we'll get to that. So I know exactly what you're talking about or where you're getting your arepas from. And so my mom, she makes the best arepas in the world. But then what I saw she would do is she would go out and get clients. Like she would go to, like, for example, we live really close to the airport in Miami, and so she would go to the Avianca counter where it's like the Colombian like airline, and she'd be like, "Hey, I have some samples of arepas that I make." And I'm just like, that's brilliant. Like, you go and you're doing like a tasting, and these people, I'm not gonna lie, like, these people ordered from my mom for the next 15 years of my life. Like, I would go and deliver the arepas to the airport, and it was just so amazing for her to, like, even though she didn't have the opportunity to make it into the full-fledged business that it should have been, because her product was amazing, she just didn't have that support from her family or from her spouse. And I think a lot of things have happened in my life thanks to the unconditional support that I've had from my husband Jonathan Diaz. Like, he is the person that, okay, we need to do a brand activation event. He's like, "Can I drop you off? Can I set up your printer? Let me check the Wi-Fi. Let's check the ink on that printer before you go and print these beautiful illustrations on the printer." And so that's what you're going to need. You're going to need not only to form a brand, but also to be proactive, have people on your team. And that doesn't necessarily have to be your family. It could be friends that are going to help you and kind of promote yourself and promote your services, because the more people get to find out about what you do, like for example, for my live sketching activations, I always bring extra business cards and I pass them out to the surrounding businesses, and I invite them to come see me sketch live so they could see what type of event we could potentially do in the future. And so as you start to think about, as an artist, like, or as a creative, what is the product? What is the service that you're selling? This isn't about you. This isn't about what you want to draw in your sketchbook. It's about what can you do to make an experience or a brand notice what you're doing. So I think a lot of it is seeing my mom and her entrepreneurial spirit and her being my first mentor and saying, hey, this is what you got to do in order to survive. You need to go and produce prototypes and go out there and make sure people know who you are, because if you're sitting in at home, nobody's gonna find you. Like, nobody's gonna come and give you your dream project. You have to create it.
100%. And oh my God, like your mom, I was like, what a genius brain. Hello, like, let me bring you samples of the amazing things. I mean, I don't think you can ever go wrong with arepas. Like, I don't think I've had any arepa that is like, oh my God, que horrible. They're all like, I can't stop eating them and I just have to eat them. Now, you talk about student loan. Can we talk about,
Yes.
did you have a student loan debt when you
Yes.
graduated? How much
Yes.
was it? And what was your
Oh
plan to
my
pay it off?
god. So I had over, I would have to say, $56,000 in debt. I got help from FAFSA. I did get grants. I did get scholarships. My dad did co-sign on one of the loans as well. But if I could do it all over again, I would have just gone to community college for the first 2 years and gone all the basics out of the way. I went to a high level high school when it came to art. So it was an art magnet program, and I studied fashion design there. And it was like being in college. So a lot of the courses that I took in high school felt very college level. And so when I got to college, my freshman and sophomore year, I just didn't, to me, didn't feel like I needed to spend, the money that I had to spend, which was back then, Ringling College of Art and Design, I think it was 33,000 a year. Now it's at 55,000. And the degree, the piece of paper, is not worth 55,000. I can tell you that right now. 100%. It's sad to see, like, this, idea that our parents always tell us, oh, you have to go to college, you have to go to college. Yes, you have to go to college, but be smart about it. And then college might not be for everybody too. Like, there's some students that are self learners. Like, after I graduated from college, I would say 5 to 10 years, most of the programs I learned in college were obsolete. And so I had to learn them, like relearn new programs on YouTube. So YouTube University is free for those that cannot go to college. There's also Coursera. There's another website called lynda.com. So even though you might not have the money to go to college right now, take some courses and see if you even want to do that specific field. Like, don't go into college thinking that it's gonna solve all your problems, because it's not. It's gonna multiply them, especially with student loans. So please be very, very careful. A couple of the high school students that are here in my area locally, I mentor them and I make sure that they understand, like, how much money they are taking out, how much that will affect their future. So you borrowing, $50,000 or in total $200,000, that's going to take you a really long time to pay. The market right now, I feel like we're entering a recession. I feel like you don't have a guarantee that after you graduate, you will have a job. So I think the biggest thing I always tell my students is start building your network now. Start making sure that people know who you are. Talk to your parents' friends and see where they work and who they know, because you honestly never know, like, who can refer you to a job.
Yeah.
Before my career as a illustrator, I was an art director at Amazon, and I actually lived in Seattle. I lived on Mercer Island, and I realized that I got there because I surrounded myself with the best people. So I graduated as an illustrator, but I sat with graphic design students and I learned everything that they were doing, like everything with typography, videography, motion graphics. Like, I learned how to do that just by sitting next to them in proximity and creating projects based on the projects that they were already doing. From a young age, I was like, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna figure this out. And so I had to be someone that was constantly on YouTube, constantly refreshing their portfolio. When I worked at Amazon, it was crushing. It was a lot of long hours. It was very demanding. And then I realized that, I was climbing the corporate ladder and it was for my parents. It wasn't even for me, because it wasn't even my dream to work at Amazon. It was their dream, you know?
good. You were climbing the ladder for your parents. This is
Yeah.
so good. And it's so true for so many of us.
Yeah.
I remember when I was climbing the ladder. So I have my background is in hospitality management.
Yeah.
And when I was climbing, I remember my mom saying, "Oh my God, Mija, you have access to a 401k and your paycheck is like so big." And as you climb, your expenses also become greater because of lifestyle inflation and trying to keep up with your peers and going to have drinks after work and all of these things that is just so exhausting. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, can we talk about Mr. Diaz because he sounds like a great guy?
Yeah.
When did you
Miss
start having conversations with him about I don't want to have kids? Like how can you tell us
Yeah.
because there's a listener out there
Yeah.
who is like I don't want to have kids, but they don't
Yeah.
know how to start the conversation with their partner.
Yeah, so me and my husband, we've been together now for 11 years. And I'm going to tell you this right now, we did come into the marriage thinking we were going to have kids, but I actually, just TMI, this is intense. Like I had two miscarriages. And so it's not that I didn't want to have children, it was physically like my body was not able to produce a child. And so the last time I was in the last miscarriage I had, I literally was in the ICU. Like I was in a very bad state. And so my doctor advised me not to have children because I just, I couldn't do it. And so to me that was A, it was hard, but B, it felt kind of like a weight lifted off my shoulder because most Latinas, especially those that are first generation, are expected to go to school, go to college, get the degree, get the big house, have 2.5 kids, have a dog or a cat, like they're expected to do so much. But for me, I just physically couldn't do it. Like I physically couldn't have a child. And so every single party, every single outing with family or, has been awkward because like any party I go to with my tias, they're like, ¿Y por qué no tienes hijos? And I'm like, do I tell them or do I just sit there and be like, oh, we're trying, like, and at the end, the last like tia that asked me, I told her I had a miscarriage. Please don't ask me again. She literally like came back up to me and she's like, I'm so sorry I asked you that. I didn't even know. And I think a lot of people think just asking that question willy-nilly is okay. And I think it's, to me, as a Latina, I envision my life so much differently now without kids because I feel like I could be the rich auntie, the tia que could be there to support your creative like crazy dreams. And I have two nephews that are so sweet, Lorenzo and Julian, that are just the most cutest little things. And I see the struggles that my brother has, like raising them, because it's a lot of work. Like what you do with your daughters, it's a lot of work. Like you are
Yes.
literally taking these little humans and trying to raise them to become the best people in the world. Like you are doing everything in your power to keep them alive, to keep them fed, to keep them safe, to make sure that they're, learning and they're on their basically in their learning path and they're in like really being involved in every aspect of these kids. Like you just don't have kids and the way somebody else is gonna watch or somebody else is gonna raise them. No, your whole life changes. And
And I grew up, my mom
yeah,
worked so much. Like my mom
yeah,
had 3 jobs, sometimes even 4 jobs. So my
yeah,
my oldest daughter raised me, but also she was like 6 years old when I was born. And so a
yeah,
lot of our niñera was really like being in front of
yeah,
a TV. And I don't know at what point in my life I discovered the public library, but once I
yeah,
did, I was like, I'm just gonna take myself to the library to read. And
yeah,
so that became kind of my escape out of like the financial struggles that we were facing.
yeah.
You're saying it so right. Like it's hard to be a mom. And I don't care
It
who
is.
posts two pictures on Instagram. They're like, oh, I love my kids. It's like, I need to take a break after like we just had a long weekend and I'm canceling my calls tomorrow. I just need a day to myself. And
Absolutely.
I also want to normalize that conversation because there's a lot of moms out there that feel guilty of putting themselves first. And
Yeah,
if I'm not mentally and physically okay, I cannot be a good mom. And it's a full time job. Right now, we're going through the phase with my youngest daughter of doesn't matter how you say it or what you say. If she doesn't want to do it, she's not going to do it. So I'm like,
yeah,
girlfriend, like I'm struggling right here with you. And we go through phases, right? And so we also, you talk about financially, it costs a lot of money to also raise
yeah,
kids. Again, my husband and I wanted to have kids, but we also waited until we were 35 to start. And just like
Yeah.
you, I was getting the conversation of ¿para cuándo? Se te está quedando el tren, ya estás
Mhm.
vieja, nadie
Yep.
te va a querer. Like all of this cultural baggage that comes with the pressure of you have to be a mom in order to be worthy.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, you don't have to have kids, you know? And
No.
I tell my friends who are like, "Oh, I think I want to have a baby." I'm like, just borrow my girls for like a weekend and then come back and tell me.
Yeah.
Because my girls, they're really nice girls, by the way.
Yeah.
They listen,
Yeah.
they're very polite, but they like to move. My girls don't know what it's like to just be on the couch and watch show. No, they're like, I want to move my legs. I want to cycle. Like they're so active. It's almost as scary. It's like,
No, 100% can comprehend. My brother has twins. They're 3 years old. They'll climb on you. They will like bring you like worms. They will run around in the backyard, get dirty. You gotta, when they were younger, like when they were babies, I would change their diaper and all this stuff, and it's a lot of work. And my brother and his wife are constantly in a state of exhaustion, like constantly exhausted. And so big shout out to all of the mommies and the daddies out there, because y'all, I don't know how I can barely take care of myself, to be honest. So
no, and then you wonder, like, how do single
how?
moms do it? Like, my mom
I
raised
can't.
5 kids with the help of my sister, obviously, but it's
Yeah.
like, how? Like,
How?
how are they doing it? If you're a single mom, shout out to you because I just
Big
don't know
shout
how
out.
to do it. Like, my husband helps me a whole lot more than any other person I know, and he's very hands-on. So it's not like I'm 100%, the girls are like my quote unquote job. He
Yeah.
helps so much.
Can we talk about that? Can we unpack that? I'm sorry to like turn the tables right now and interview you, but can you talk about how important it is to select a really good husband, a really good partner, for the dudes that are listening out there, the wife, or like just a partner in general. Like why is it so important to have a good partner when you have kids?
Well, for me was I enjoy cooking now, but I grew up seeing my mom and my sister, even my grandma, like really angry when they were cooking. So I didn't want to become them, that they were always feeding people and taking care of kids. And so when I met my husband, I knew I wanted to have kids. And then when I met him, he's like, "Oh, I would like to have 5 kids." And I really like this guy, right? Like my husband, I think is amazing. Because I was like, yeah, let's have kids. We had our first daughter, and he's also an entrepreneur, and he only works 3.5 days. And so when I was in corporate, he will take care of my daughter when he was off. So he will spend a whole day with this baby changing diapers. This is why they're very active, because at an early age, he will take them on the stroller to go on a walk. And I'm not talking about like a 30-minute walk. I'm talking like a 2-hour walk, and he will take them. And so when we start talking about kids, we also talk about, hey, for me, it's important to have a career.
Yes.
And I also communicated with him, like, I don't want to become a stay-home mom. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but
No Tina Shane.
for
Yeah.
me, that wasn't my dream. Like, I want to talk, I want to be creative, I want to be in camera and
Yeah.
do all those things. And so I dated a lot. And I recently shared this with someone who I take out to dinner. I said, I dated a lot, like a lot. Nunca al mismo tiempo. I also want to
Yeah,
say
Avi.
that. But I was looking for the partner that will say yes to my craziest dreams without saying like, ya para qué, or you always want to be too much. Like if I ever dated someone that would tell me, oh, you're always one more, I would literally just break up with them the day,
Yeah.
because they weren't supportive of my dreams. And with my partner, he became very, very supportive. And we also had a miscarriage, which I know I mentioned it before on the podcast,
Yeah.
but that was really hard on me too, because it happened. And then the next day I had to get up and go to work like nothing had happened. So I didn't have
Same.
to grieve and do all of that. And then with my latest child, which is I call her my crazy child,
Yeah.
she was super hard. Like the pregnancy was really, really hard. I had postpartum depression. I had like a
So
lot of
sorry.
physical things that were completely different than my first. And so he actually came to me and said, I see you like physically, and I don't know if we want to keep having kids. And I was like, I'm done. Like once he kind of said, I see you.
Can he get a trophy for that? I
Yeah.
see you. Like, I'm not gonna put you through this again. People don't understand the physical toll it takes on a woman's body, the mental toll, the pressure of like, having to go back to work after like that should not be normal. Like we should be able to grieve. We should be able to, be able to go back to a home and rest because I honestly, I cannot even, I wish I could physically give you a hug because that's just so much to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that's how I know he was the right person because he's
Yeah.
always been the one that it's not like he has to have every box checked, but he's
No.
very emotional and very impulsive and he's very
Yeah.
logical.
Yeah.
And he's also like for the greater good. Like, I know you want to do these that is going to make you feel good, but like, how can we do the same thing, but make all of us feel good? Right. Like,
That's
he's
awesome.
such a thought leader in that sense. And so when we finally decided to have two kids, that's and because we were getting pressure from our familia también, like, hey, ¿cuándo van a tener el niño? Y el niño, y el niño.
No.
I mean, just looking back at my healing journey and my
Yeah.
postpartum depression, I was really irritated when people asked me like, ¿cuándo vas a tener el niño? Right? As
Mm,
if it's like another box that I needed to check. And so I started telling them, we're done, even before we decided. And
yeah.
this year we finally took care of business. So we can't have anymore. Like, even if we say, oh, ahora sí, like we can't,
Yeah.
also, coming back to wealth and money, we want to help our girls to be able to have optionality. So
Yes.
we don't sell them on that you have to go to college, but we do talk about education, right? Whether it is free education or pay education, we know that
Yeah.
education is super, super important. And I graduated from a community college, which with my bachelor's program, I was part of a pilot program with a bachelor's program. My master was the one that I needed to pay, but we also want that for our kids, right? Here are
Yeah.
the options, and here's how we're going to help you. And this is why entrepreneurship for us is so important because they work for our business. Like we're legally hired through our business, and I'm not saying like have kids for that, right? Because we're
Mm-mm.
talking about like child free wealth, but
Yeah.
as a tia, you can also provide that options for your nieces or nephews. Hey, I have
Yeah.
a business and I can hire you so I can pay you a salary,
Which
right?
I plan to do. So Julian, Lorenzo, when you're old enough to pass the labor laws here in Maryland, which is 15, you will be hired and you will come work for Latia in the summer and you will schlep my markers and my pinners and change my ink. And we will open a Roth IRA and we will make sure that you start investing as soon as possible. I just want to say that's so beautiful, like that you're going to give your daughters options.
Yes. Because
Imagine if we would have started there. Imagine how different our life would have been if we started there, if we had options. I'm grateful that I have options now as a childless dink because my husband also is on this journey with me, this financial journey. So we're working on fire. Like we literally want to retire early. Probably 45 is like 45 to 50 is our target, and we just want to travel the world. Like we want to, have a home base in Medellin in Colombia where I'm from, and then my husband's from Barranquilla. He loves Japan, so we want to be in Japan for 6 months and in Colombia for 6 months. The reason why I want to do that is because I want to make sure that my nephews have an option of like coming, being able to come on trips with us, showing them the world, because I know my brother is spending so much money on taking care of them, getting them, clothes, fed, paying for daycare, paying for all these
insurance,
things, insurance, and paying for like not just insurance, but also just taxing all the things that he has to do for them and, help them. Because my brother is also very hands on. So shout out to Alexander Briles for being one of the best dads out there. Cause like, I honestly, I don't know how I would be able to do something like that. Like the way my dad was present for us, but he was more of like a economic, like, hey, I'm gonna take care of the bills in the house and whatever. But my mom was more hands on with us. My mom was like, oh, you like art? Okay, we're gonna go get some art supplies. Like, oh, check out this school that you could apply to and get free art classes. Like, she was very much motivated. So I want to, honor how far we've come. I want to honor that because of the sacrifices our mothers, grandmothers did, we have a net worth now, like we have not just net worth, but also we have the morals that they passed down to us. So not only are we taking care of ourselves but our families as well? Like we still have that maternal instinct, even if even if I don't have kids, like I still want to take care of my nephews, and I want them to know everything about Warren Buffett. I want them to understand how compound interest works and the importance of investing early. And if it wasn't for me working at Amazon, I would have had no idea what RSUs or investing is, or the S&P 500. I was able to learn a lot of this because of mentors that I had. Because of that, now I'm mentoring young high school students, asking them to make sure to open up a Roth IRA and start contributing to it. Even if they don't make that much over the summer, even if they just put like a third of what they make, that compounding over 60 years is going to be insane. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fantastic.
Love that so much. Lucia, I want to talk about the book that you have.
Yeah.
It's like a dream come true for you, but
Yeah.
also it's a legacy of stories of mujeres. So you illustrated the book for Viva. Can you show it to
Yeah.
us again? Viva Latina, which was written by Sandra Velasquez, who is the CEO and founder of Nopalera, which, by the way, I'm also an angel of Nopalera.
Nice.
So how did you find this opportunity, or did the
Yeah.
opportunity came to you?
No, this is another go chase it. So I was part of an accelerator with a big company with Target, and they connected me with Sandra. And I remember like a year before that, I saw her on Shark Tank, and I turned to my husband and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna meet that woman and we're gonna work together and we're gonna do something. And my husband turns around and he's like, I know you are. So basically, after that Shark Tank episode, like I just like put in my journal like I want to work with Sandra Velasquez. And then eventually when I was in this accelerator program, which again, business owners, if you're out there, please always apply to not just grants but accelerators, because they can provide such great opportunities to meet, business owners like you that you can collaborate with. My mentor in the accelerator program, Tahaji, she connected with me with Sandra Velasquez after seeing my story, like the reason like why I illustrate. And for me, the reason why I illustrate is to make sure that Latinas feel seen and celebrated. Because growing up, I never saw Latinas in history books. Like I only saw Sonia Sotomayor, the judge, and I'm like, that's weird. 200 years of this country being in existence and Latinas didn't do anything, like nothing except for be a judge. That don't sound right. So I decided I'm going to create this book in homage for Latinas that are movers and shakers, trailblazers that are, going for, seats in Congress, that are CEOs, that are just incredible women with such empowering stories. And being able to work with Sandra Velasquez, she gave me free reign. She's like, you do you, just illustrate the portraits. And she told me like the connections she had with some of the people that I was illustrating, how she met them, and it just became a dream project. Like how awesome is it to create a book with one of the most influential Latinas that are out there in business, that are really trailblazing a way for other Latinas to not just come into beauty, but come into business. So, working with Sandra, I learned again that it's so important to follow up. And because I created an illustration for her as a gift, as a thank you for being my mentor during the program, she in turn gave me this book opportunity, which is insane. I literally, every time I see it, I cry because, like, I'm like, I can't believe I'm published. Like, that's such a big dream that I never thought was going to happen, because I've had millions of rejection letters from publishing houses that don't understand the importance of Latinas and why we should be seen. Why should we, our stories in history is so other Latinas, like your daughters, could see themselves and not think that they're not enough, that they're more than enough, that they deserve opportunities and they deserve to be CEOs, that they could be anything that they want to be. So, really, this book, Viva Latina, is an homage to not only, the Latinas I illustrated, but also to the Latinas in my family, my mom, my grandmother. So my mom's name is in this book, like my grandmother's name is in this book. And so even though they didn't have the opportunity to chase their dreams, like their legacy is cemented in the chapter that I wrote for when it comes to family. So I think To me, like as an illustrator, again, all the opportunities that I've ever gotten is because I went out and I chased them. I went out and I applied to accelerators. I went out and I applied for grants. I went out and I tried my best to not only support, Latina businesses, but other businesses that maybe not it doesn't align 100% with what I do, but I could see the passion and the drive that they have in that business. And I think being able to be someone that supports others, your name is going to be thrown around in rooms of opportunity.
Yes, mujer. And I love that so much for you. And I mean, I feel like I know you said you've been doing this for 16 or so years, but I feel like you're just getting started
Thank
because
you.
you are very creative. You're very talented. Like I've checked out your website, your illustrations, and you're also someone that doesn't wait for the opportunities. You go chase them. So before I let you go, can you tell us like what is your definition of wealth?
My definition of wealth is options and freedom. I want to wake up one day and not have to go to a meeting, not have to go to work. I want to wake up one day and just be able to take my mom out for lunch and then go pick up my nephews from school and have a date night with my husband in whatever continent, whatever place that he wants to go to, which is probably Japan. So just really having options and not letting society dictate to me that I have to work till 65, cuz I don't need to we don't need to work till 65, y'all. Like, you need to focus on your number and what you need to live off, and really focus on your time. Like, are you giving enough time to building your wealth, or are you wasting time on Netflix? Are you wasting time on social media? Like, focus on what is it that makes you happy? What is it that gives you talent? Like, what is your talent gonna do for you? And don't think that you can't reach that number. A couple of years ago, like what I think 4 years ago, I didn't had no idea what net worth was. I didn't even pay attention to a Roth or anything like that. I literally learned this all through, companies like your company, Seola Wealth, like companies like Janice's Yo Quiero Dinero. Like, big shout out to anybody that's Latina that is sharing this information. Adriana Talks Dinero, and Fernanda from Relentless Latina. Like, I learned about how to manage my wealth by reading books in the library, by checking out why is it that I want to retire early? And it's because I want freedom. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to be woken up by an alarm. And I think the more money I have in my pockets, the more money I can give to charities in Colombia, orphanages, Casa Nazaret, like orphanages that I've already been working with. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, money, wealth is freedom. Money, wealth is options. And being able to take care of my family, being able to take care of my husband, and not have to worry about medical bills or not have to worry about, oh, where's this coming from? But being super prepared to just be free and set your life on fire and just
Yes,
like
and I
go and
love
be
that
free.
so much for you. And
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming to the podcast. You make my dream come true, and I just love the work that you do so so much. And where can people find you?
You could definitely find me on Instagram at Hola Lucia Diaz, and you could also find me on LinkedIn. So please send me a message, Hola Lucia Diaz. And if you're interested in working with me, buyluciadiaz.com is my website. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions, especially if you're an artist or a creative. Come talk to me. I'll be more than happy to show you what I've been working on. And to me, it's all about giving back and making sure that my community of Latinas know that it starts with you. It starts with what you want to do, and it also starts with supporting amazing, incredible Latinas like you. Can you tell me where we can find you and what we could do to like sign up for your programs?
Yeah, so everyone can check the show notes. And I know how people can help me right now the most because I'm getting ready to bring this book to life is subscribe to the YouTube channel Mujeres. Like we're going to be showing so many behind the scenes there. And Lucia, thank you so much for coming to the show. I'm going to let you go because I'm going to go eat some like arepas right now. But I will
Nice.
I will connect with you and let's go ahead and build well juntas.
Yes. Ciao.